Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to you all, whether you're here in Oxford or near or far. People are joining us from many different places. My name is Nick Austin. I'm the Master of Campion Hall, which is the Jesuit permanent private hall in the University of Oxford. And we also have here the Laudato Si Research Institute, which is hosting today's symposium. And its purpose is to conduct transdisciplinary dialogue for eco-social change. So this is the second day of our symposium, the Politics of Land Insights from Asia. And we're hoping that to continue to bring resources from religious and spiritual traditions, including resources from Catholic social thought and teaching, to the most challenging crises of our day. So very warm welcome to you all again, wherever you are. Please do put in the chat, introduce yourself, tell us where you're from and a little bit about yourself so that we can see who everyone is. And I'll now hand over to Tim Howells, who'll summarize a little bit what we did in the symposium yesterday.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Nick, and welcome to all of you to this second day of our Politics of Land Symposium. My name is Dr. Tim Howells. I'm part of the Laudato Si Research Institute based here in Oxford, United Kingdom. Now, yesterday, I think, gave us a solid foundation by which to take forward discussions of this topic. And if I may take a moment to recap what was said. We began with a keynote presentation from Dr. Jojo Fung. He reminded us that the indigenous peoples of South Asia constitute approximately 80% of the global indigenous population. And yet in nearly all cases, they face the relentless onslaught of the deterritorializing processes of globalization. Their right to own and occupy ancestral land being constantly undermined by the drive to development. Indeed, in India and throughout South Asia, this idea of development has taken on, we might say, an unassailable significance in the discourse of national government. As Dr. Fung reminded us, development has become a sort of, quote, login or password that triggers unilateral appropriation of the natural resources of a tribal area for their exploitation. And the resource-rich state of Jharkhand represents an important case study for us all in this regard. Throughout yesterday's proceedings, then, we considered the resilience of Adivasi communities in contesting that encroachment. In our panel discussion, we heard how the cultural, social, and political identities of Adivasi communities has enabled mobilization, organization, and protest. We heard of specific instances where that's been successful. For example, the abandonment of the Koalkaro hydroelectric project in Jharkhand after local organization. More broadly still, we received some interesting data sets from Dr. Sabina Alkira at the University of Oxford that indicated improved measures of human freedoms in this area. All this is hopeful, although we mustn't forget that scheduled tribes remain the poorest caste group in India. We also focused on religious identities, whether Hindu, animist, Christian, or other. These too are important. An example that came up was the demand for recognition of Chana Chal, a syncretistic ritual practice that's closely associated with reverence for nature. Adivasi tribes are currently lobbying for this to be recognized in a national census. And Dr. Marianas Kujor, himself from Ranchi, Jharkhand, summed up the importance of religion for our topic when he referred to nothing less than, quote, a theology of land among indigenous peoples that must be addressed alongside this theme of the politics of land. And indeed, religion has been an important strand of this symposium. Professor Masuda Bano of this university offered us insights from the Islamic tradition. Mauricio Lopez introduced us to the situation of indigenous people in the Amazon region, and provided a fascinating glimpse into parallel scenarios with our South Asian context. And of course, at various points, we've mentioned Catholic social teaching, and especially the recent encyclical from Pope Francis called Fratelli Tutti. Now, the intention here is not, of course, to impose extrinsic categories to a local situation. Rather, it's to make use of the richness of resources that are available to us in world religions for a more holistic analysis of this complex situation. So today we have the opportunity to develop this analysis further. I'm delighted to say we've got a series of wonderful speakers and presenters, beginning in a moment with Dr. Mahika Chatterjee from the University of Oxford, and moving forward again into a panel discussion later on. Do please keep your questions coming. At any point there, you'll see there's a Q&A button on your screen. It would be especially useful if you could input your questions there rather than in the chat function, and we'll make sure there's opportunity to answer as many of those as we can. And we'll conclude our time today with a short call to action, considering ways in which we might responsibly engage ourselves in this issue. So as I prepare to hand over now to my colleague, Dr. Carlos Abadia from the Laudato Si Institute, may I just once again welcome you on behalf of Campion Hall and the Laudato Si Research Institute here at the University of Oxford. Carlos.
Thank you very, very much, Tim, for allowing us to recap this incredibly important theme, which we've been exploring, the politics of land and rural transitions in India. Now, what I would like to do here is, first of all, introduce myself. I'm Carlos Abadia. I will be moderating this segment, and I'm delighted here to introduce our keynote presentation for today. We have we are delighted to introduce here Dr. Mahika Chatterjee. She's the departmental lecturer in development studies at the University of Oxford. Dr. Chatterjee teaches on the MPhil in development studies, is at this university, and is a junior research fellow at Wolfson College at University of Oxford. And her research and teaching are situated within themes and issues that are particular concern for the political economy of development, with a regional focus on Southeast Asia. Now, she co-convenes the History and Politics Foundation course on the MPhil program, so she's got a lot of research interests, which include the political economy of land, politics of rural transitions, and the dynamics of food systems. Her current research project, she works on the evolution of a planned industrial zone in Western India, which focuses on the politics of state land dispossession and the livelihood transition for farmers and landless laborers. The study, which is so rich in speaking to broader themes on the role of contemporary state and the politics of late industrialization, is part of what informs this conversation today. I'm also delighted to introduce here Mr. Vijay D'Souza. He is a member of Campion Hall at the University of Oxford, and Vijay is a Jesuit working in Northeast India. He works in an area known for its linguistic and cultural diversity, which is estimated to be home of more than 200 distinct indigenous cultures and languages. His research centers on the endangerment of languages and cultures in Northeast India. Vijay has worked in the Russo Aka tribe since 1999 and has helped in developing the orthography and in publication of the first printed books in the language. He's currently working to establish a new Northeast Indian Indigenous Language Institute. To both, we are very thankful to have you here. And please, Dr. Mahika, this floor is yours as we will listen to your presentation.